So, thanks for having me here. Use that one or this one?
No, I think the one you have to.
Is it on? Yes. Okay. Thanks for coming. We're really excited about the Crossbow technology. Again, this is the Crossbow Open Networking session. I think you're in Ballroom B, right? So I would encourage you all, if you have questions, this is your chance to interact with all the engineers and managers of the Crossbow technology. So we're going to have a Q&A session. Make sure you step up to the mic and speak clearly. So we are recording this so you can hear and get your questions answered. We are here for quite a while, so this is your chance to actually corner them all and ask the in-detailed questions you need answered, any help you need. We have just about everybody here, I think, from a slice of the Crossbow team. One dangerous thing is always arming a VP with technology. Shoot the lead guy. Right, first right off the bat so that we can get him up here. But we have several partners presenting what they've done with Crossbow and the technology and the community. I can't stress how exciting this technology is for me personally. I mean, when I came on board with Solaris 3 years ago, I came from the developer tools group, and Sunay cornered me right away about the Crossbow technology. And we've really advanced this, under the leadership around Solaris to, be, market-changing technology. And who's here for the CommunityOne keynote? You have a show of hands? So there were a lot of hints dropped by John Fowler about, and Mr. Lavender, Greg Lavender, about what you can do with the open networking technology. So I hope everybody's taking close notes because this is as inventive and innovative as our storage technology, and it's been open sourced and available to you. So this is your chance to ask questions, learn, think of new ways to implement it. We appreciate your feedback, right, on what you've done with it. It's also a chance to see what we've done with the technology in the community and our partners. And with that, I'd like to introduce the guy who's sort of the heart and soul of Crossbow and has shepherded it along for a long time. And I have to say to Sunay, thank you. Technology is out. It's actually in our main release coming up. So Sunay, come on up and take it over.
So first he shoots me, then he says thank you. That goes with the Solaris philosophy, shoot first, ask later. And actually, if we can have a couple of more guys, Nicholas, Drew, and Kais Belgate come here as well. And we have a lot of Crossbow developers, all the senior guys sitting here. I think they're sitting hiding in the corner there. So make sure you keep the door locked so they can run away. And these guys do run away, believe it or not. So the goal here is that we'll do a quick recap of just 3 slides and a short demo, and then we get started with Reliant and Veraz and Joint and Force10. A lot of these guys are the one who made Crossbow successful, believe it or not. We really should thank you guys because you're on Crossbow Discuss, you're telling us where we go wrong, and believe it or not, you do tell us very clearly where we go wrong, right? By putting it on your blog and putting it all over the place and telling you guys screwed up. So we appreciate that, nevertheless. So quickly, few slides here. Sorry, the full screen mode is not working here. So Crossbow, as we talked about, this is about 8 years of work coming together. It's a new networking stack. This is the networking stack of Solaris. You do not install a separate module to get Crossbow. You do not enable something else. This is how you do networking on Open Solaris today. This is how packets are going through. It's built on open standard. It deals with multi-core. It takes advantage of all the NIC hardware features that are available today. It works with across the board all NICs, right? So Intel, Suns, Broadcom, Naturians, and Chelsea's, and whoever else. And the interesting part is that the features are available not dependent really on the NIC. The NIC just gives you performance, extra performance. Otherwise, all the features are available to you. The technology is cool. The architecture is cool. Not just because I'm saying it. We actually wrote a bunch of papers out there. This year's SIGCOMM in 2009, August in Barcelona, is going to publish 2 of those papers. Those just got accepted. There are copies lying right there. One is on virtualization architecture, the other is on the QoS architecture of Crossbow. So again, please be conscious, these are printed on the trees. So there are online versions available. If you really want a printed version, you're really going to read it, pick one. We don't have enough copies to go around all the room. So if you're really going to read it, just pick one. The other interesting part is that Crossbow is the common network virtualization framework for all the virtualization technologies coming out of Sun. So Zen, LDOMs, VirtualBox, Zones, all these things are kind of part of Crossbow. Crossbow is the common framework for virtualization there, and it enables a bunch of other things. It's also some of the things that allows us to get into the cloud. So one of the key things that Crossbow does is people have long been fixing the server side of virtualization. I mean, bandwidth control, resource control, and so on and so forth. The storage side was there, and what was missing was the network side. So this is kind of what I call 2009, 2010 is the world of networking, open source networking, commodity networking, network virtualization. These are the themes that you see today. This is not just from Sun Microsystem. Cisco is driving UCS strategy. I believe everyone here knows UCS, but can I get a raise of hand? People who understand the VMware and Cisco's UCS strategy? Some people. This is kind of a strategy which gets them into how you take the server and network and deal with it in one piece. Gone are the days where there was the server guys and the network guys and they will never talk. That will not happen again. The world is merging together, especially virtualization is driving that merge. And Cisco and VMware and Sun in general, everyone is trying to make it across all the way from server down to the switches and the routers and so on and so forth. And Crossbow is uniquely empowered to do that. So a couple of quick slides. I think a key benefit I already talked about. So dealing with multi-core, multi-thread, lower latencies, linear scaling. By show of hand, can I get a view of people who don't think that is important? Sorry, don't need to raise hand. Virtual NICs, virtual switching, all those things are in the part of the stack. Again, the stack just works. You just create virtual NICs, you just create virtual switches as you need them. The physical NIC in Crossbow world is nothing but a virtual NIC. It's just with a given name, right? So the names that you knew, E1000G or IXGB or whatever, those are kind of just a given name, but virtual NICs and physical NICs just work the same way. Link aggregation, VLAN, so all these things are designed into. So if you go to some of the VMware conferences and whatever, ask them about what do they do for HA and so on and so forth, right? Again, the reason I'm saying this, not to do chest thumping, but to say that this is where community came and helped us, right? When we were designing our VNICs and all, I think, where's Ben? Ben right there and a couple of other guys said, like, have you thought about, we always run with link aggregation. We always use VLAN. So what am I going to do with your VNICs if I can't enable VLANs on there? So that is kind of, steered us in the right path from day one itself, or maybe day 5 itself, and got all these features built into the stack itself. Couple of other core concepts. I'll just things that you'll hear quite a bit, the concept of hardware lanes and dynamic polling and all. The idea is that you deal with multi-core, take part of NIC resources, kernel threads, kernel queues, CPUs, attach them all together in one pool, and these lanes operate independently from each other, right? This is akin to you drive in the city grid. I mean, a lot of people here probably are used to have seen San Francisco traffic, stop sign at every intersection and how long it takes you to navigate some of those. This is how networking stacks used to work, not just Solaris, all of them. And Crossbow is trying to give a lane discipline here. 8 or 16 lane freeway, you don't stop. Packets one picked up for processing, go all the way through, both inside on the inbound and outside on the transmit. Some of the key Crossbow components that you'll see are virtual NICs. We talked about that. They are hardware-based and software-based as well. They have configurable link speed, so you can set the bandwidth limit on a NIC to be anywhere 10 megabit, 10.2 megabits if your heart desires, or 17.3. One gentleman really wanted to set it on 17.3, so that for whatever reason. It's based on open standard support, HA, VLAN capability, all those kind of things. The other very important part is to enable Crossbow virtualization. You do not need to do anything on the switches. You do not need to buy the next generation switches to make this work. Your existing switches actually work with Crossbow. Real-time usage and history and some fine-grained analytics, those are all kind of the key features that Crossbow offers. Then there's the concept of virtual switches. which is if you want to build your private networks, and we'll show you how, and we use that pretty aggressively, you'll see where virtual switches come in. The flows are people who do, so are people all familiar with QoS here? By show of hand, I can get an idea who uses QoS, who knows QoS. So there's enough people who know QoS here. Remember, you create a class, you create a filter, you attach your traffic to that filter, to that class, then you find your queuing discipline, you configure your links, burst and latencies and all those things. By the time you're done with 50 commands that configure your QoS, it actually doesn't really work. So, and we have a paper right here. We actually kind of put it up there. We had a long debate in-house, like, should we really say that it doesn't really work and how bad it is and whatever, and in the end we decided, like, what the heck, just say as it is, and we did that. Now, Crossbow, in world of Crossbow, it's very simple. You create these flows or VNICs, you give them link speed, we automatically figure out how much queuing needs to happen. We do not drop packets just on the first chance. We actually give people a chance to correct themselves. And it actually works very well. And again, I invite you to read the paper. We have a lot of performance results and stuff like that. And on that note, let's go through the demo. So one of the things people have heard about Crossbow quite a bit is the virtual wire capability of Crossbow. And what it does is allow you to take a virtual, actually let me have Nicholas explain that to you.
Okay, the mic is on.
Yeah.
So one of the, it's not too loud. Okay. So something that we did as part of Crossbow was providing the ability for these VNICs to talk to each other, right? You're building VNICs on top of a physical NIC, and you don't want the packets to always leave your machine when you want these things to talk to each other. So as part of Crossbow, we provided the ability to build virtual switches to allow these VNICs to talk to each other. And then we thought, well, it would be nice if we could build these virtual switches completely independently from the underlying hardware. So we provided the ability to create these, as shown on that little demo here, these virtual switches that are completely independent from the hardware. You can create as many as you want, and then you can create VNICs and connect these VNICs to these virtual switches. So that allows you to build virtual networks and simulate these virtual networks with real code and real routers and real firewalls and web servers and so forth and so forth. And that allows developers to take their application, distributed application, not just single node applications, but distributed applications, build a virtual network to run these applications and basically debug, test, and develop their distributed applications on their laptop while they're sitting at Starbucks. And then when they're happy with the results, they can take these apps and deploy them on a real hardware, on a grid, or whatnot. So Kais will show a little GUI that we put together for CommunityOne to show these things.
So
You get okay, perfect.
Anyway, I'll try to project here. This is a little GUI that we put together for this event. What we can show here, for example, is a network. Too many mics.
Yeah.
All right. What we can show is a network that is comprised of two subnets connected through vSwitch 1 and vSwitch 2 over here. And we've got these boxes here are zones. One client zone that runs, I can bring the for this zone.
Chris, why don't you explain what you've configured first, and then we'll go into the zones and see. And by the way, we are using zones here because they're just lightweight and they have no performance overheads and so on and so forth networking. But you can use a Zen instance here. You can have a hybrid mode where you have zones and Zens all mixed in. Typically, if you want to play on your laptop, basically with 1 or 2 gig of memory, what we recommend is the network components be zones and so on and so forth. And you have 1 or 2 Zen instances where you can have Linux or Windows in there, depending on where your client and server apps are. And the other quick thing we should point out is that all these link speeds are configurable, and one of the quick thing that you can do as a developer there, and I would really request if there are any iPhone developers here, I really hate it when I try some of the freeware apps. I'm cheap, I just try the freeware, I don't buy them. But when I try them, sometimes the download speed with the limited download speed, you get very variable result. So if you're an iPhone developer, you can use this technology to actually test your client-server app right now, right? You can check the client link speed down to 2 megabit per second or whatever it is. And we actually have a hitbox module as well, which allows you to emulate basically the LAN or WAN latencies and packet drops and so on and so forth. And you can have a real test. So this is just for test environments. You can use this for real deployments and so on and so forth. So case if so that was perfect. Some entertainment.
You bought me some time.
Yes. Don't move back. Stay where you are.
All right, let's shoot some traffic here. We've got this two-switch topology of a network, and I'm shooting some traffic from this client here over on this web server, and I've got a network monitor to show this traffic. Let's plot this over time. Let's plot the usage of throughput over time. What I will do here is, for example, this VNIC that's being used by this client to communicate to this web server. I'm going to change the bandwidth here, simulating basically different conditions on the network. Properties, and any minute now I should have the
because it's hard to see.
You want to bring it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. Let's put.
Can you bring that box more on this side?
This one?
That's okay.
Yeah.
So what Case did was here just configure the bandwidth limit on one of the links.
And we can dial it up and down as we want here. Another feature we could show is the.
So Case, can you log into the router zone there, yes. the virtual router, and just do a config -a and show that to people that. So and by the way, after this we'll have a live workshop session we'll have our own laptops here. You're welcome to use your laptops. I'm assuming, are all the laptops here running with OpenSolaris 2009-06? Can I get a show of hand whose laptop is not running OpenSolaris 2009? Okay, very few. We'll convert your laptop by the time you leave today.
Yeah, grab the DVD
and by a show of hand. So we didn't talk about these uniform. This is not just for show, right? So we talked about crossbow knights and, we have real swords. Jeff doesn't know that. Jeff thinks that our swords are fake. I substituted them. We have real swords. And by a show of hand, can I get who is not signed up on Crossbow community? Crossbow project page? Dude, we have real swords.
One of the things we can do is, for example, this router, we shoot a continuous ping across this network, and then we're going to reboot the router and see what happens, the router zone. What we should see is the router, as the router goes down, this continuous ping traffic should, it stopped now because we have nobody routing. The router halts, then the router is getting rebooted now. While it halts, we have no more gateway from the client.
And the traffic comes back.
Zones are awesome at that. They boot real fast. And then once it boots, the routing service starts, and then the client now has a route. So what you get to simulate here, for example, is an intermittent outage of one segment of the network. In this case, it's the segment represented by this router.
So that's perfect. So on that note, I think we can talk more about Crossbow later and all the things it enables. What I'll do is let Marcus, who's next?
We'll continue with Xiaobo 1. Xiaobo is going to be, Xiaobo is from Veraz Networks, and he has put together a presentation for how Veraz Networks is using Crossbow currently on their session border controller. Thank you very much, gentlemen.